Test, test. Check 1, 2, check 1, 2. Is this thing on? All right, we sound good. What is going on, everyone? It is Tuesday. This is the Unmasked After Show with yours truly. So let's talk about what they talked about on the Unmasked show. Gain settings, crossovers, all that fun stuff. I know enough to talk about it, so if you guys got any questions, drop them down below. But without further ado, let's kick off the intro. I'll see you guys in a second. Here we go. Let's kick it off, guys. And action. What is going on, everyone? Thank you for tuning in. It's another show. It's another day. Always fun to do these live shows, man, and just hang out with you guys. We had some extra fun on Sunday, and I thought that was a really cool show, just laid back, and got to talk about a lot of things, and there was a lot of questions about the Solo X, and I'm glad that they kind of went into that tonight with the L7X build, the Bronco build, if you will, getting ready for SEMA and all that kind of stuff, and just seeing it in the boxes. Got a lot. I can't lie. I actually seen one of those boxes when I was down at Stillwater. So, but either way, when you see more than one and they're stacked up, man, it's going to be awesome when they are in our hands, readily available. I cannot wait, and I know you guys can't wait either. But let's talk about the Unmasked show. And before we go there, I had a super chat right from the beginning. Matt G, thank you for your $20 super chat, man. I love pizza. It is my favorite food. He says, go order some pizza. And you know what, Kayla? We're having pizza tomorrow. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. And I take these things to heart, man. Like today, from all your guys' helmet funds, Me and Kayla went out and purchased 2 brand new Bell helmets from Mercedes Motorsports. So you guys will see that pretty soon, and it just, man, you can't spare expense when it comes to your safety. But again, Matt, thank you for your super chat. And I know there was somebody that won in Texas tonight. If you get that email, then you know you won. If not, no biggie. There's always next week. And of course, we do the live giveaways on my show, Kicking It with Andy, when Kicker Unmasked is not live. So it's a win-win every Tuesday, man. You guys get a chance to enter the Tabor 2s, the Cush, the EB400s, all awesome products, and of course, the Kicker swag. What is going on, everyone? Thank you so much for tuning in. I think the super chats are working tonight, but with this computer, it's like, man, it'll work 1 week, and then for 4 weeks it doesn't work. I can't wait to see what SJC has cooking in the kitchen for me, and we won't have that problem anymore. Good old Dell computer, man, or StreamYard, but I think it's the computer. I definitely do. But you know what? Either way, we are here to have fun. And as long as you can hear me and you can see me and it's coming in 1080p, that's all that matters. So either way, let's get to the topic of gain setting, crossovers. I loved the demonstration with the RTA and just seeing it visually of what it does. You can tell what it does with your ear when you're messing with the crossovers, your high pass, your low pass. And I like how the kicker amps, at least the KX ones, have a bandpass mode. That's great for those guys that got, 4 8-inch mid drivers in their door, and they use just 1 amp for that, and they have it all wired together, and they can cut out the lows and the highs. Control and power go hand in hand, and when you have both, you can make a lot of things sound really, really good, and getting your equipment tuned is very important. It's not like tuning a guitar, but in the same way, it is. It's making everything work in unison as your strings are all tuned in certain octaves apart of each other. It's the same kind of setup of just, matching your pre-out with your of your head unit going to your amplifier. It's not a volume knob. You can pretend it is one all you want. I mean, it does make it louder and quieter, but at the end of the day, it's not. It's not. But hey, sometimes it works for a lot of things and sometimes it doesn't, man. All right, I guess we can start the stream now since Deviant is here. Appreciate you tuning in, man. Thank you so much for everything you do, bud. Discord chat is lit. We got Bill Frog in there. We got Thomas Van. Man, we got a lot of big names in there. And it is awesome just to be in the community other than just the live shows, man. Because that's where we kind of all met, were the live shows and just talking in the comment section, talking about car audio. And it's a great chat area to do it, man. William, thank you for tuning in, man. I am getting so close to that amp dyno test bench and throwing all this stuff in here, man. It's going to be awesome. Your Bluetooth bass knob, I'm actually going to try to remove my old amp dyno table and move it downstairs and take another one out to the trash. I'm kind of just, swapping tables with that and going to install and put together my brand new desk. And then once that's there, I can start rolling on some things, man. Appreciate you tuning in. Kicking it with Andy. Kicker Unmasked after show for the win. You're a rock star. Thank you for all you do. How goes the test bench built? You know what? I feel like I was reading your mind on that one, man. It's getting there. I'm going to try to work on some of it tonight. Life gets in the way, but it's just, I'm kind of stuck with this table and moving things around, and my free time is, usually after I go live and everyone else is asleep, so moving an 8-foot table is usually a 2-man job, but I'm going to try to do it and not hurt myself going down the stairs. Appreciate you, 25. Make it rain. Absolutely, man. Thank you for tuning in, buddy. DIY audio guy, thank you for tuning in, man. You guys had an awesome topic last night. Monday, was it? Yeah, last night. And I had to veer off. I had to get to work. Just crazy stuff going on. But very good topic. I like how you guys talked about different apps and software stuff of literally showing you where to cut on a 4x8 sheet so that you can save wood. I think that's great. As long as your cuts are perfect, that's a miracle app. If your cuts aren't very perfect, it might not work too well, but it'll save you some wood. Absolutely, man. And I know you guys covered a lot of things on there. Appreciate you stopping in and hanging out, buddy. We got Derek here late tonight. Thank you for tuning in. What is going on? Late tonight, always late, man. Always late. Ryan Lovely with a $5 super chat leaves money on the nightstand. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. you know, you guys are just killing it with these super chats recently, man, and it's just, it's insane. It's insane, and it's like, you know, I can't wait to do more stuff, you know. I love doing amp dynos. I'm going to punch those out, but there's more stuff I want to do, and you guys are making it so that I'm able to do that and have more flexibility, and, man, you guys are awesome. Appreciate you. Appreciate you so much. All right, let me scroll up here. I thought super chats were working, but now they're not. I don't know. That's weird. This computer, man, it is on its last leg. I'm over it. I'm over it. I thought they were working, but, you know, it's okay. Let's see here. I think it's definitely something with the Windows because I had it on this screen over here, and then I moved it over. I did it accidentally, and now it's being weird. So I don't know. I don't know. Mr. Double E, what is going on? 1080p at 14.4 volts. You know it, buddy. Thank you for tuning in, man. Thank you so much. All right, let's see here. Jeff Wargo, what is going on, buddy? This guy came out to the show first time, and he loved it, man. Awesome bass head. He's been sharing all the kind of stuff all over the place, man. Really good friends with my local people, too. Thank you for tuning in. Glad to be here. Thank you for tuning in and coming out to the show, man. Get to see what I do here as well. Thank you so much. Now, did you guys have any questions about what John was talking about with any of the amp tuning and the crossovers and all that kind of stuff? I know it can turn into a rabbit hole of questions of like, okay, what can I do with this and this? And you guys had a lot of good questions. And I liked how they even threw up my question too, which had to do with setting it with the math method of the volts, you know, of the AC. Of, you know, you multiply the two divided by how many watts by the impedance, and that gives you, you know, your square root of where you set it at and all that kind of fun stuff. And I've always seen people, you know, and it's just like, okay, if you have it at 1 ohm, you have it set there, and if you have it at 4 ohm, obviously lower on the volts. And I'm like, well, that makes sense, but I feel like you're still limiting what that amplifier can do, because all you're pretty much doing is matching the pre-out voltage of the head unit to the amplifier before clipping. I always felt like you're shortchanging yourself by setting it at that 4 ohm rating, even if you're running a 4 ohm woofer. You know, I just feel like you're shortchanging yourself where there's a lot more headroom. Even if it's a 4 ohm woofer, you set it at, you know, 1 ohm. Yes, you're going to see more power, but that's what that amplifier can do. The times that I tell people to set it that way that they first explained that John did very good, is when you're trying to use an amplifier that is per se too big for your woofer. So that you're not seeing too much power than what that subwoofer can handle. And that's kind of like setting somebody the safest that they can so that you're not overdriving the woofer by sheer power. But we all know it, you know, clean power, your woofers can take more of it compared to clip power. It's just DC subwoofers don't like DC power, man, and neither do amplifiers when you're clipping. So we know that. But I just, you know, it's a rabbit hole with that discussion of how to set amplifiers correctly. And I liked how he brought up, you know, the DD1, you know, and the O-scope, because those are the ultimate ways to actually set your gains, to know for sure if you're clipping or not. Man, I know O-scopes are expensive, and if you want to have best of both worlds, man, then SPL Labs, the $600-700 system that comes with everything, you can meter your system, you can set your gains with the darn thing. It shows THD, has an O-scope built in. It's not super fancy, where, you know, you can have multiple inputs like an actual O-scope does. O-scopes are awesome, but if you're trying to do that and have something more than just a DD1 or a cheaper O-scope, and you want to meter your system, man, the SPL Lab is the way to go. Love Term Lab to death, but they don't have THD. They don't have that yet. So at the time, I feel like the SPL Lab is the way to go if you want the best of both worlds. You know, I love when people ask me, hey, can you meter my system? I'm like, yeah, no, sure, no problem. And they're like, oh, well, my gain isn't set right. I'm like, one, it doesn't matter. We're just metering. Very insignificant gains if you're, you know, set too high, you know, clipping or whatever, because usually when people are metering their system, they're sending it full tilt boogie, they're going to clip a little bit. I've seen some gains, you know, where people, you know, they set their gain better and stuff, but usually it's just the gain's too low, and I can do that for you, which is awesome. I can set your gain and meter you, and hey, it takes power to make power, man. All right, let me scroll back down into the comments here. Cassie is here. What is going on? Thank you for tuning in. Don't diss the Discord. You can't diss the Discord. El Fuego, what is going on, El Fuego? Thank you for tuning in. Has Sidewater, new watcher here, it seems like. Hi. Thanks for tuning in, man. We do car audio. This is the Unmasked After Show. We talk about pretty much anything, but we try to talk about what the Unmasked show talked about, and today was setting your gains, crossovers, all the kind of fun stuff with amplifiers, man. Very, very interesting topic tonight. Again, you know, I just love those live amp, not even just dynos, but live amp and demonstrations. I love that stuff. I know there's a lot of work that gets put into it, so thank you guys for doing that. John, Ernie, Bill, everybody, J-Dub, you guys are awesome, man. I know you guys are the ones putting it together, and you guys did great tonight. Got Rick. What is going on, Rick? Thank you for tuning in. Barry Denmark, yeah, the super chat. Dude, it was just working, Matt. Your $20 super chat came up before I even went live, and I went like this to minimize the screen, and then I maximized it. Now it ain't working, and that's something that SJC kind of said, you know, it might be the text font where it's just not working. Like, I just don't understand. I really don't. I was over it, you know? Super chats just weren't working for weeks. I'm like, nah, it's okay. I'm going to get to them anyway, reading down in the comments. And, yeah, I'll get to them when I can, but that kind of defeats the purpose of a super chat. So for now, it's working okay because I can get through all the comments, but maybe one day not so easily. So by the time we have that, I think the new setup will be going a little bit better, a little bit smoother. Yeah, oh, man, a bunch of super chats, man. You guys are awesome. I love you guys. Let me scroll down here, get the super chats. That is the point of super chats. Bubba with a $20 super chat. The funding for additional funding for more pizza was sponsored by part was sponsored in part by the 14.4 Talk crew. Discord crew. You got me again. Bringing the people together. Hit the thumbs up, y'all. Thank you, Bubba. And absolutely, man, pizza and Discord, they go hand in hand. I try to jump in there as much as I can. You know, I'm pretty busy, and my mind just needs to be shut off once in a while with car audio and just people in general, you know, and I'm always doing something. We were at that motorcycle shop for, like, no kidding, 3 hours, just looking at equipment, testing different helmets, kids running around. It was crazy, but it was fun. So, but the Discord is awesome, man. If you guys haven't got the invite, Deviant, we need to do something. I know it's, you know, not a super secretive group, but it's for the unique individuals, like a lot of us are. And you know, if you're in the chat long enough, I'm sure he'll send you the link. Appreciate you guys. Discord for the win, man. Mom, happy Sunday. That works for me. Love you, Mom. Hope you're doing good. Tell everyone I said hello. Darn it, I stuttered. It's okay, Bub. I do it all the time, live in front of a camera. It happens. Rick, I really been waiting for the L7 Solo X L7X and came across a local dealer with digital designs. I am actually checking them out tomorrow. I currently have a 2011 L7, long overdue. I mean, DD is amazing equipment, you know. I put them in the same realm as Kicker, as in performance and quality and stuff like that, and maybe price too. It's like right around there, and I feel like up until the L7X has been talked about, released, you know, like of where we're at today, DD had bigger drivers than Kicker, so it's kind of hard to compare the two. But I feel like, you know, if that's what you want to do, man, absolutely. But they will be here. I know it's been a long time and this has happened, but you're not the only one that has this, you know, problem, if you want to call it a problem, you know. I just feel like people are going to want to buy something, you know, they're subs like yours, 10, 11 years old, man. They just want to upgrade, and this just happens to be the time that they can do it, and the product's not there right now, and that's where we're at. So, I mean, if that's what you want to do, man, I'd like DD. You're making a good choice, at least with another brand. Hey, and then maybe down the road, you know? Trust me, I see people do it all the time. Buy woofers, sell woofers, buy woofers, sell woofers, just to get, you know, something different. But I mean, I feel like you're not going to go too wrong with the DD as long as you do it right, just like any woofer, any brand, man. Just depends. But it's a shame, I know, but we're here. We're so close, man. We are so close. I don't know. I would wait. I would wait if I were you. I would wait, if you can. Those L7s will last another 10 years, I'm telling you, if not longer. Coronut with a $2 super chat. Pizza, a $2 bill towards the tip. Appreciate you guys, man. You got to tip the driver. Usually I'm the driver too, you know. I just go and pick it up. That was the thing me and my dad used to do all the time, just go and get the pizza. I remember just driving back with the hot pizza on my lap. So, you know, just going to pick it up. I'm not that lazy, but sometimes we do have delivery. And it's just, we order a lot of pizza or buy a lot of pizza, eat a lot of pizza. It's a common food in this house. So I appreciate you guys for the pizza super chats. Thank you, Cornut. And speaking of Cornut, got a little package from Mr. Cornut. This will be one of the very first amps to be dynoed. The Banda, I don't know if you wanted me to release this information, but it's released. The Banda V2, the one that Derek did. And this one's a little bit fancier. We're going to find out if it's actually a real Banda or if it's a knockoff. If it's any good, it's going to do rated just like every amp we do. Probably dig into this one a little bit deeper just because of the things behind the scenes, the Amazon reviews, the things that are seen but not heard. Go over that. So, Cornut, thank you so much for this, man. You guys are awesome sending me stuff. Like, I feel like a celebrity, no joke, and it's awesome. It's awesome. It's like, oh my god, really, guys? You guys are nuts. Thank you, Cornut. Appreciate you hanging out and always being the caboose, man. And that extra super chat you sent me too. That was awesome, man. Thank you. How's it going, Andy? We got Marshall Royalty. What is going on from Kicker Club? Thank you for tuning in, man. Our boy Hogan Husko told me I think it was a Team SP Loud show that I just had. He was like, yo, Marshall Royalty told me to tell you I said what's up. That you said what's up. And I was like, oh, awesome. That's that Kicker guy. I know him. Thank you for tuning in, man. Sound Doctor, thank you for tuning in. The tip, only the tip. It's what gets you in trouble. All right, let's see here. Jeff Wargo, right on about the Total Harmonic Distortion. I love Term Lab, but also enjoy my SPL Lab BT meter features. Right, you know, I mean, that was the first one I used was the Bluetooth one. With your own car, they work great. When you're moving it from car to car, you accidentally press the pairing button, then it's a pain in the butt to repair it. And you can't clamp with that one, but I think the newer ones you can now, even though it's just it doesn't have the whole box assembly. But right, you know, I almost bought a Term Lab, what was it, 2 years ago, whenever I was first becoming a mecha judge. Because I'm like, man, I should just do that if I'm a mecha judge and they don't look at the SPL Lab as a certified meter. And I almost pulled the trigger, and I'm kind of glad I didn't, because it kind of didn't work out in what I wanted to do. It wasn't anybody else. It was kind of my decision. You know, I'm just like, that's not really working for me, and I already got a very, very good thing, and too much on my plate already to do any more. It would be insane. And hey, I just keep adding it on in smaller portions. It's adding up. But hey, man, this is what we do. It's great to stay busy, man. It's great to stay busy. Joel Finnemore, thank you for tuning in. Sup, bro? And sorry I've been super busy, man. That is the story of my life. Well, you're here now. Thank you for tuning in, man. Got someone else new here, Drusco Precision Sound. Man, we got a lot of new people tuning in recently. I've just been noticing. That's awesome, and that's why we do what we do. We stream now 3 times a week, but we're going to keep it at 2, guys. What's up, man? Got to meet you at the Greensburg. Oh, great time, the Bass Beetle. Oh, what is going on, dude? Dude, that thing was awesome. What'd you have, 415 scars? Oh, man, that thing was, that Beetle was beaten, man. And you did good, man. I think you got 2nd place in your class, in the pro class. You did awesome, man, and thank you for coming out. And that's why I told you, man, I'm like, you'll do great in my small wall class, and hey, you did pretty good. Thank you for tuning in, man. I appreciate you guys. You know, this is why I do what I do, and the Team SP Loud is something where I just kind of started with, you know, and here we are today doing live streams, talking about Kicker products, every product, amp dynos, all kinds of stuff, man. It's always a fun ride. Clipping, so much clipping, always clipping, man. You know, I don't care how good you set your gain. If you like loud music, unless your woofers just can't handle it mechanically and you have a huge amplifier compared to your woofer, you're gonna clip. You're gonna clip. I've watched, I've set my gains respectively, and I would play music, and obviously music's all over the place, and different ways they record the music can be hot or heavy or cold or whatever compared to another song. So I would look at it, and the THD was kind of, it was a little bit of clip, and it's like, why is it clipping? And I'm playing way below, and it just that's the thing, and that's why you want to give yourself some leeway. You can, that's another topic too with dB full scale of how to set your gains at -5, -10, or 0. I feel like the negatives are great for like subwoofers, and like you just want to set your mids at high and at 0 just because the less chance of clipping of what you're playing at. But again, music is all over the place, man, and how you're listening to it, the media, let alone how you're delivering that media to your system, via Bluetooth, hard connection, hard drive, FLAC, whatever that is, and then how that recording studio recorded that track, like how close was it to 0 dB full scale? I believe a lot of music is like -6, and it depends. I know some streaming softwares actually claim of what dB full scale that they try to keep things at, and just how that works. And your device, I've seen where iPhones can be louder than some Androids, and it's just like, why? And it's just, usually that's a hard connection rather than a Bluetooth, but then there's variables with that, man. Are you using a dongle? Does your iPhone have a 3.5 jack? And that's getting kind of like nitpicky with it, but I just feel like there's so much that goes into the stuff. If you just set your gains within reason of how they're supposed to be, run equipment within reason. I made a comment on there, and I was just like, if it sounds too loud, you're probably clipping, because I can't remember how many times I've ever metered any of my systems, and I would see if I was clipping or not real time, and I'm like, man, that doesn't even really sound as loud as I normally have it, and I'm not clipping. But then as soon as I start clipping, it starts getting a little bit louder, and into around 2 to 3% THD, it still is getting louder, the score's going up, and then once I got around past that, the gain was insignificant. Now every system's going to be different, but I just know that you're gonna clip, and it's just how much you're clipping, what kind of music you're listening to. If it's, Lil Wayne, Get Crunk, or something like that, where it's just constant 42, 41 hertz, boom, 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 and it's not giving you a break, and you're clipping away, there's more of a chance that something's going to go bad. If it's a song, it's got a couple of those notes in there, it's got a break, for like maybe a second or two, and then it comes back, and then, it's going to be able to take more power in a sense, even if you're clipping or not, just because of the duration, the time, the power, the average of the power, because of the stops in the music or not. And that's where experience comes into this, where you want to get a good foundation, have your gains set, and all that kind of fun stuff, but eventually you're going to have to learn how far to push your system. Okay, I only got 212 kicker comp R's back here. It's sounding really loud, but they're getting kind of stinky, and I wonder why. And it's just probably because you're just expecting too much out of it. Maybe you should have went for the 215s, but hey, you didn't have the space, so maybe you should have went for the 2 comp Qs. And it's just, and a bigger amplifier, and then you wouldn't even be pushing it at that same level with that entire different system, because it just has more potential of just what it is. And that's where people go crazy, because then you get the bigger system, and then you're turning that up louder again. And it's just, it happens to everybody. It's human nature. We all do it, man. But I've just learned, it's like, listen, man, I know what my system can do. Full tilt boogie. I'll give you the beans. I'll give you the sauce. But I'm not going to play like that all the time, because my equipment's not going to last. It's just how it happens, man. Really. Always clipping. Appreciate you tuning in. Doesn't take, see, I just stuttered already. Doesn't take much. The Daily Bench, thank you for tuning in. My 98 Chevy Alt can't keep up when my headlights and air conditioning are on, but yet I can blast my sub all day. No voltage drop, I still don't understand. Very good question. Now with alternators and AC condensers and all that fun stuff, your AC pulls a lot of current when it is condensing. Think about an AC unit in your wall. You know, you're pulling 500 to 800 watts depending how many BTUs and what kind of motor and all that kind of fun stuff. When the fan's on, you're pulling 50 to 100 watts. I tested it. Those little meters are awesome. So think of your car. You know, it takes even more power to do, you know, something equivalent because you're at a lower voltage, you know, so it's going to take more current. So then, you know, you think about it, okay, my wall only has 20 amps of current, okay, but my car has 100, that's a stock alt. So it's probably going to take maybe 20 to 30 amps of draw to turn that AC unit on. So that's pulling a lot of power compared to what you actually have, because your car uses some power too for your computer, for your lights, for your PCM, your ECM, whatever, all the stuff for your car, and then your radio. So you're limiting what you can do, and that's where you're going to see the most voltage drop. You know, whenever I got a high output alternator and I had my electrical stout for the amount of amplifier I had, I could run the AC. Yeah, I'd have to keep it over 1,000 RPMs, you know, and not let it bog out too low, because then it's a high output alternator. It's got a lot of juice at the high RPMs, nothing down low. But regardless, when I had that input power, I could go full tilt boogie, and my voltage was great. And I thought that was the greatest thing. And when you get a demo that can go full tilt boogie with the AC going, then you know that you have more than enough electrical, or maybe it's just the right amount for your system. But I feel like, you know, 90% of the people have this problem where their voltage drops more just because their AC's on, and it's okay. But that's the thing you got to remember. You know, when you come up to a light, your AC's on, you're going full tilt boogie, your RPMs are down to 500, your alt's not doing much to begin with, and you got extra current. Maybe when you're sitting at a red light and your voltage is dropping, just give her a little rev, you know, pop it in neutral or something like that. That's why 5 speeds are great. You put it in the clutch, just give it a little bit of rev, put it in neutral. It's real easy, and your voltage won't drop as much even with the AC on. When you're driving, you won't notice it as much, but it still will, because that's a lot of draw. I'm telling you, it's a lot of draw from your AC unit, man. That's why a lot of people just take them out and put another alternator there. 25 says, any videos of you cruising on your bike? Yeah. Not yet. I actually need to get a cell phone holder for it, and then we'll start talking videos. Thanks for tuning in, 25. Joel says, DD is amazing and most of it's built right, and I think here in Louisiana, that's what I know. Blake knows a lot, man. He works there, and I know it's U.S. made. I don't know if the parts are from U.S., because I know 90% of the stuff it's even made in the U.S. The parts are still, you know, it's assembled in the United States, but the parts are from China or another country, but it's assembled here, and that's where they can kind of get away with saying made in USA. So that's what drives me crazy with some other things too, because it's just, you know, it's 2022, man. A lot of things are not made here because it's hard to pay workers and keep the prices low. It just doesn't. That's the sad thing about the economy that we live in. The American future is dwindling. Absolutely, Rick. That is what I am here to do, man. Appreciate you guys. I try to read everything. I really do. Thumper said, I'd wait if it was my money. I'd wait too, man. That L7X is going to be something groundbreaking. Really. Just cause. It's going to outdo the old one. Maybe not watt for watt, but total performance? Oh yeah. It's hip to be square, Ernie says. He would know, man. Thank you for tuning in, Ernie. Have a safe drive home, man. Thank you so much for listening. All right, let me scroll down here. Coronut says, that Banda is going to be the new Cookie Monster amp. Hey, you know what? If this thing does all the power I need, and it fits in the palm of my hand, that's even more reclining space I have in my car. I don't have much space to work with, so that might be an option. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. Again, thanks for the amp, man. That thing's awesome. You know, I like quirky things like that. You know, like things that are different. You know, a lot of power from a small space. You know, and it's obviously full bridged, or it would have to be. I think it is. I don't know. I have to look into it. But you know, small space, lots of power. I think that's cool. Deviant said it. You heard it first. Ernie gets a Discord invite if and when he wants Ernie. Bill Frog's already there. So, and you know, I think you should join, man. I really do. Ernie's an awesome guy, man. I'm telling you guys are missing out. You guys got to send him the request. You guys got to send him the request. All right, Joe Cook, I know you're probably off by now. I'm always behind on the comments. Thank you for tuning in, man. Oh, Ernie, you gotta check out the Discord, man. I'm telling you, it's awesome. Yes, chat app. Rick says, great channel. I'm here occasionally. Huge Kicker fan. They've been in all my previous vehicles. Came across info on new Solo L7X when I was looking to reinstall beginning of this year and been waiting since. Yeah, man, you know, thank you so much for the shout out. Appreciate that. Really do. You know, it's been a long, almost 2 years. And from what they're saying tonight and what they've been saying, like, this thing is going to be here and it's going to be an awesome product. I can't wait, you know, for a lot of reasons. You know, I would love to retire, you know, the old 18 and throw something in there that is almost, in a sense, designed for what we're doing. When they designed this Solo X, they did not design it for 17 hertz and hair tricks. You know, it just wasn't meant for that. But that's today's standard. You know, if you ain't floating something, you ain't loud. You know, and it's just, that's kind of more geared in that sense. Bore and stroke. That thing's going to have twice, almost 3 times the excursion as that guy, and more power handling. So we'll see, man, or around the same. I would say more. I would say more from my intel on the L7X 10, 12, and 15 of their power ratings of now versus the, you know, even the 10 and 12 of the old Solo X. It's closer to the 18 rating of how much power it can handle, and this guy can handle, I would say, 2 to 3K, and that's what they have it listed at 2,000 RMS. So that's another thing too, man. I had a comment where someone was like, why is the new L7X lower RMS? And I've talked about it before, but YouTube's got this new thing where you can make shorts from comments like this, but in your actual videos, like how you do in TikTok. It's about to be game over, guys. Get ready for some shorts coming your way. Hey, just keep waiting, man. Patience. Good things happen to those who wait, man. Bobby B, Andy, are you an Amazon affiliate? I am, and I made about $40, and that's it, man. You know, it kind of went to little Sonic Adventure stuffies for Bryson. I just took the gift cards and ran. Didn't really make too much. Let me scroll down here, take a sip of my drink. 37 minutes, not bad, not bad, not bad. Sound Doctor, what is going on? Andy, how are you tuning your system, by ear or with the fancy stuff? Very good question. With the KXA 2400, it's got the fancy stuff built into it. I'm sure you know. It's got the built-in distortion detector. Literally, the gain knob lights up. Awesome stuff. Easy. The KX amps and everything else I use the SPL lab, and I look at the volts AC and the THD, and just kind of set it where it's not clipping. And that's what's pretty cool, because you can see on that, you turn your gain up, you get more AC rail, but you're clipping. And I like to do it with the woofers going, you know, and get a range too, you know, both unhooked and then hook it up, see where I'm at, full tilt boogie with voltage drop, because that's a thing. That's one thing they didn't cover tonight, was voltage drop. If they did, I missed it. When you set your gain with no reactive load, with nothing going on, right? And your voltage is at 14 volts. And let's just say that you have an amplifier, even if it was a what is it called? I always forget. Regulated. Even if it's regulated, whatnot. We'll say it's not, just to make it easier here. Say you have your gain set at 70 volts AC and 14.4 volts, you're good. Say you hook up a subwoofer, 2 subwoofers, you know, you're pulling 3,000 watts, your voltage is dropping down to 11.5. At that same gain marking of where that's set, you may be clipping now because the voltage is too low and the amplifier cannot produce a clean signal at that. So then you must have to back it down. And I know that's not like a preached method, but it is an experienced method. If you really want to keep a clean signal and your voltage isn't up to par, that's how you know, because then you can hook it up and play a test tone and it's like, okay, it's clean, it's clean, it's clean. And then as soon as my voltage drops, it's dirty. And then if you would hook up another car with a, jump pack or something like that, not even a jump pack, but another car to get more input current, and then you have that input current, your voltage stays where it's supposed to at 14 volts, then you're not clipping. And I feel like a lot of people skip over that, where if your voltage isn't perfect, no matter how good you set your gain, you may still be clipping because your voltage isn't proper. And that's what's cool about the fancy stuff. Marlin Performance, thank you for tuning in. Hi, how you doing, fellas? Fell asleep during the Unmasked, just woke up long enough to say have a good night. I'm off to bed. Hey, it's okay, man. It's around that time of day where, your circadian rhythm or whatever it's called, you just start getting that nap time kick in. It's like, okay, get that little nap in and then you're good to go. Well, you're here now. Marlin, thank you for tuning in. I hope that your build is going very good, man. I heard you're doing big things. Double E says, I'm a purist. I just hire the group band to play live for me in the back of my car. Hey, that's one way to do it, man. Matt G, you merely adopt the clipping. I was born clipping. I have never heard a clean signal until I was a man. That's funny. All right, let's see here. Let me scroll down a little bit further here. Ray Gibson, thank you for tuning in, man. Is small amount of clipping okay? I mean, just think of it this way. If you're clipping and you have, say you're not clipping, you're rated before you're clipping, and you got, we'll say 70 of heat. There is no measure of this, but we're going to make it up. You're at 70 heat, and then when you start clipping, instead of going to 80 heat as if you were just adding more power and not clipping, you would go to 90 heat and may or may not even deliver any more power. So what happens is heat is the killer of all electronics. And what you're doing is you're just putting your stuff at risk. So a little bit of clipping, absolutely you're fine if you're within that window of how much heat that driver and that setup can handle. What I try to tell people is, literally, if it sounds really loud, it sounds very good, maybe you should back it down a notch. And you can literally hear it. When you got your system, you're full tilt, and you have it set right where you got even more than you need on the volume knob to get the full potential of your amplifier and your subs, you can hear it where it just crescendos, it just peaks. That's as loud as your system is going to get. And when you're there, you're clipping. You're probably heavily clipping. You're probably at 3 to 8% THD, and you can do damage if your woofers just can't handle the heat. So then what you do is you just back it down a couple notches, and you can hear it. Your tonality of the sound of the bass, even if it's just bass, you can hear it. It sounds a little cleaner and crisper, because you're not clipping. And distortion at those lower frequencies are harder to hear, but you can still hear them. And it takes experience, but not that much. You can really tell. Take it down a couple notches. All right, that sounds pretty good, but it's not loud enough. Let me turn up one more. Perfect. That is a simple way of putting it, and you'll be better than you were if you were just sending it full tilt and just going as whatever the system can do. It's not good, and I don't know how many people I see rolling around the town and their speakers are just distorting, and they're fine with it. It drives me nuts, but if it sounds like that, knock it back a couple notches, and you'll be okay. A little bit of clipping, I don't want to tell you, because then, I'm just clipping a little bit, I'll be fine. Andy, Living Loud with Andy, told me I'd be fine. I don't want to tell you that. I've had people tell me, oh, that smell from your speaker is just the resin from breaking in because you actually have some real power in your amp. No, I was burning my resin that was holding my coil together. If you start smelling something, you already did damage. If it starts smoking, it's actual damage, and you're just shorting the life of your equipment, man. Thank you for tuning in, buddy. Appreciate you. Thumper says, AC compressor runs off a serpentine belt when you turn your AC clutch engages to make cold air. Your electric just runs off blower fan. I don't think so. I know what you're saying, though, off the serpentine belt, but guess what else runs off your serpentine belt? Your alternator. There's a lot of factors that go along with it. I don't know exactly, but every car is the same, man. My system clips on certain notes. Ray Gibson again. Yeah, you know, and that's the thing where if you set your crossovers like they were talking about on Unmasked, then you can actually kind of get more potential out of your system of where it's loudest at, and then cut off those notes that maybe you're clipping on certain notes, and to pull that down so that you're not clipping on those notes. Say if your system's loud at 40 hertz and it's clipping maybe at 50 or clipping at like 28, 29, that's when you would use your subsonic or your crossover, your high pass, low pass, and kind of not band pass, but the opposite, where you would just kind of, well, I guess that would be band passing it, yes, and just playing a certain range of frequencies, which your subwoofer should be doing anyway. And I feel like that helps a lot of systems. I've messed with my crossovers on the quad box. I had them wide open when I first hooked it up, and it sounded fine, don't get me wrong. Now that I actually have them kind of queued down, and there's already a built-in subsonic on those CX amps, so I can't mess with that, but I don't need way below wasted information anyway. I mean, come on. And so I mess with the crossovers, and now it plays so much better, and it doesn't get as hot. I don't smell burn, you know, from burning my coils, from clipping and playing too much power. When you play certain higher frequencies, your sub's just not moving as much, so it's not cooling down as fast. It's just like anything, man. Like an air-cooled engine. You know, if you're revving your engine and you're not moving very fast, it's not going to cool down. But if you're going pretty fast and you're still revving your engine, it's going to cool down. And that's kind of the concept here, where you're delivering all this power, it's not that loud, it's not working with the enclosure, it's not working with the vehicle, and you're dumping all this power and you're not moving anywhere. It's like going down the street 5 miles an hour, full throttle. It's just going to not work very well. It's just not that it's going to sound bad, it's just wasting heat. That's wasted information if you ask me. Again, appreciate you tuning in. Let me scroll down here on the comments. I'm always so far behind. The Daily Bench. I bought my first AGM 12 volt last year and I am never going back. You know, I love AGM, but now getting into the lithium game, unless you live in Alaska and the temperature is way below freezing, lithium's gonna be way better. It's more expensive, don't get me wrong. But AGM is very, very good compared to just a regular wet cell lead acid, man. Just with the AGM, they're covered with a insulator, and that's why they kind of work better in colder environments, maybe compared to a lead acid and just how that kind of stuff works. But it's still a wet cell chemistry, like a lead acid. It's just how the windings are interwoven and just the absorbed glass mat, the material that's inside. Now, gel batteries, that's entirely different too, and how they work in the cold and in the hot. Man, I love battery technology, but I barely know enough. What's going on, Scott? Appreciate you tuning in, buddy. Just got home. Thank you for tuning in. Matt G says the Solo X needs to have a 4-inch coil. I think it would. That would, yeah. Maybe a 3.5 and a 4. Lots of options. That would be nice. That would be nice. Ernie says more. Always more. 7-inch coil. There's some woofers out there that got like 9-inch coils, man. You know, and they're like usually shallow mount drivers. All right, let me scroll down here. Michael DePaulio. Oh, man, what is going on, dude? Thank you for tuning in. Hey, Andy, remember the Kazuku 5 meet? We competed in the sound comp. I had the silver focus with the JBLs. You came out winning with no alt, straight battery for the win, man. I hope you are doing good. This guy right here, man. This was where I had my first... I never competed in a stereo competition. Kazuku had one. I'm like, I'm going. I just got my Eclipse running. It was sitting for like a year, and took it up there, and it was great, you know, and the stereo comp was going to start in about an hour. I'm sitting there, I'm revving my engine, I'm being the young punk that I was, and, well, I revved the engine, and then my fuel pump went. We're whacking at this thing, nothing, nada. And then you hear them on the intercom, the stereo competition's coming, or it's going to start, and I'm like, are you kidding me? I planned for this. So my friends literally pushed me up there. I had one battery in the back and one in the hood, and I was able to win, man. You know, I give you respect. You only had 212s. Your JBL sounded great, man, and it was a tight competition, man. And that was the dawning days of what I do now. You know, I've always done car audio, but that was a moment I'll never forget, man. And thank you for tuning in. I hope you're doing good, buddy. I hope there's no bad blood there, you know? No, you came out to the shows later too, man. I appreciate you. I really do, you know, and it's just, it's been an adventure. It really has, man. And there was another guy too. I forget what he had. I know you had the JBLs. Those were awesome. I think it was the, what was it? I should know this. Was it the red neon? I think it was the red neon. I forget what he had in there. Oh, man, that's awesome. Thank you for tuning in, man. All right, let me scroll down. Ray says, voltage is the problem I'm having. You know, and it takes power to make power, but if you got a stock alt and you got no batteries in the back, you're probably the worst off you're going to be. Add a battery in the back. Do your big three. Big three just consists of, you know, I don't know if you know or not, you know, just bigger size wire. Wire size is very important. The length of the wire, where it's going. Look up charts, man. You know, how much current can I run through a certain size gauge wire? That'll give you an idea of what size wire I need. And having a battery in the trunk close to the amp is going to help your system tremendously, just because all the power is going to be demanded from that battery, regardless what kind it is. I don't suggest you use an open vented lead acid in your trunk, but it will help your electrical if you got nothing. I'm telling you. Just because of how close it is, it's going to take the brute force, and then your alt's just going to charge what the battery can receive, and that's how that works. Rather than pulling all that current 17, 20 feet, that's when people melt fuses, and it's just like, why is my system not working? Plus, you can actually have more voltage drop because you're pulling so much current. You're pulling more current because it's a longer distance, and your wire might not be the right size that it needs to be. Of just how that stuff works, man, it's crazy. Voltage, electrical, and once you get it going, you got everything right, you know, it's not budging, then you're like, well, I could add a bigger amp now, couldn't I? More subs. That's how it starts, it's how it ends. Garth Roberts, thank you for tuning in. Hey, Andy, love your work with car audio. Thank you, man. Thank you. Even thought about trying out sound quality competitions and moving to less SPL and higher hi-fi. Pure Class A. Ooh. Warning, heat. Multiple channel active DSP setups would be awesome. You know, I was just talking to Kayla about this on the UnMasked show. Seen someone talk about SQ, and it was Drew. And I was like, man, I ain't even getting an SQ because I know how... It's just like I won't get into saltwater tanks. I know how deep that rabbit hole can get, because it's just like SPL if you're like an SPL competitor. But SQ, it's just, yeah, you're going for that nice sound, and just how, you know, a certain vehicle might work better or not. You know, you might be doing so much extra work because you got the wrong vehicle for sound quality. Vehicles in general are bad for sound quality, but we make it happen. You know, and it depends the kind of money you want to put into it. But man, you know, I feel if you can do you can't even do both. You can't do SPL and SQ. You just can't. You're always leaning one way or the other. But I like SQ. I like having a system. When I got to hear Ernie's and I got to hear John's SQ actual build systems, I'm like, man, this is easy on the ears. It sounds good. It sounds like the artist intended, and maybe a little bit of gravy. But it's just, you know, how you can have fun with this hobby is what you should do. You know, if you're not having fun in the lanes, then don't do it, man. Don't do it. Go to the SQ and get judged by another guy, but do it for you. Do it for what sounds good to you. You know, challenge yourself of making your system sound better to how it sounds, how you want it to sound. And I feel like people get so far away with, even with SPL competitions, the meter, the score, another SQ judge judging your system. At the end of the day, it's yours. Yes, take their information of what they're saying, of what you should do with your system. always listen to what someone has to say, but at the end of the day, it's your system. Do what you want with it, man. And you know what? Class A for the win, bro. That's how they all started. Crazy stuff. And hey, thank you for tuning in, man. Appreciate you. See, I like these comments here where I can get into it and you guys got questions. This is what we do, man. We talked a little bit about amp tuning and voltage, and I feel like it all goes hand in hand. All this stuff really does. Thank you, Scott. Your AC system uses 15 to 25 amps, so that can be, 150 to 300, 400 watts, give or take, out of your electrical, of your stock alt, just how that goes. Amps between the compressor, draw and blower. Right, and it's just, obviously that compressor needs some kind of electricity to get going and to be running to make, I don't know how that stuff works with the Freon, and it's just, I've always known that. I've had 4-cylinder cars a lot of my life, okay? The turbo button is when you turn off the AC. It's taking something, okay? I'm telling you. It's taking a lot of everything. Horsepower, electrical, it's no good. And it's the turbo button. All right. El Fuego! Thank you for always tuning in, man. Anyone use the SMD CC1 for setting crossover points? I don't have one. I never got to use one. They're really fancy. They're awesome. I would love to get my hands on one day, man. They are awesome. I love all Steve Meade products, man. They are awesome. Ray Gibson is just dropping questions tonight, but this is what we do here, guys, and you guys support him, and we support you guys, man. Thank you. This is awesome. I'm using DSP, so what frequency should your subs be? No subsonic, just high pass and low pass. Well, I'm guessing you're asking where your crossover should be, and John kind of went over that on the UnMasked show tonight. A lot of times, crossovers are tuned by ear. I've never, and I thought about that for the pilot, of how I'm going to set the crossovers, because I kind of have them way down. I don't need anything above 55 hertz. I just don't. So I have them turned all the way down, and it sounds muddy, let me tell you. Real punchy where I want it. And that's a rabbit hole of just how that works. But either way, it sounds good to me. That's what matters. So with the crossovers of how you have them set, I mean, honestly, like John said, have it set around 80 hertz, and work there. Usually, if it's a system that I'm listening to rock and country and maybe it can't be too, there's a lot of music out there that has a lot of high mid bass, if you want to call it, and it can get a little washy sounding with subwoofers, and that's when you want to turn it down so it doesn't play that in a certain enclosure, a certain system, like if you would have a ported box compared to a sealed box. I feel like the sealed box is going to do it a little better. It's going to have a natural crossover of just how that works, and it might sound a little smoother and better, and it's not going to sound washy as compared to a improperly tuned ported box for that frequency that you're trying to play. I would say 60 to 80 hertz. If you go with that 50 like I kind of do, you kind of got to turn up the gain and play it a little bit louder, and you might clip at where you want to be playing at and maybe not where you're trying to get because the crossovers are set so low. But it all depends, man. Honestly, just start wide open, play a few different tracks, like 2 or 3, play some R&B, play some rock, and then play something that just doesn't really have much bass, and play those 3 and mess with the crossover. I can't stress it enough. Time of knowing your system, of how it works, and knowing what it can and cannot do is more knowledge than you ever need. You don't have to ask guys like me to do this, but once you know it, you got it, and that's how you can learn more. Just mess with your system, man. I wouldn't mess with the bass booster or the gain or anything, but you can. But the crossovers, it really just comes down to what the system can play and the type of drivers you're using and the type of music you're listening to at what level. There's a lot of factors that go into this stuff, and I feel like John and the guys did really good of covering all this kind of stuff, because it can be a very deep rabbit hole of how to set your amplifier, because there is no perfect way, and that's why you see so many options on these amps. And flexibility, control, and power, that's why I can't stress it enough, man. You want to have it all, man. But with the crossovers, set them by ear. Like I said, try different songs, see what sounds good and what not. Turn it all the way up, turn it all the way down. Find your happy medium of what sounds good with kind of everything or just what you listen to. I don't know how many systems I've had in my life with boomboxes, car systems, just everything. And certain radios are just, no matter how much I tune it and try to gear it in one way, it's just going to sound better with certain types of music. Not just genre, but just how the song is played. What kind of hi-hats and drum kick, and is it a long drum kick, is it a short drum kick, is it going to work better in this system or that system? And there's so many different variables, and that's why you see so many people are like, hey, try this song in your system, and I'm like, even before the days that I had just 6x9s in my car, it might not sound that good because my system is not geared like that, my car is not like that, my boombox is not like that, my house is not like yours, so there's so many variables that come into it. It's all with how you think it should sound, and play within your reason like we always do, man. Thank you for your questions. Scott says, if the Solo X needed a 4-inch coil, Kicker would have done it. Well, right. You mean, with the, yes, those ones. Yeah, that's a 3-inch coil. Right. Thanks for tuning in, man. Hey, you never know. 19-inch with a 5-inch coil. The bigger coil you get, you can have more power dissipation, heat, thermal capabilities, but then you're almost limiting yourself on how much excursion because you have less spider. It's just, you can have a little 1-inch coil, and then you could have 5 inches of throw in this little 1-inch coil that's like 5 inches tall or 6 inches tall, and you can have all the throw, but then you got to have a really loose spider, and, it's just not going to be able to handle that amount of power. It might be very efficient. It might play like 20 hertz very good. I don't know. Hey, try it. Let me know how it works. I would love to be able to just, almost have like an app or something like that of some kind of software where you can plug these kind of things in, material spiders and all this kind of stuff, and kind of see what a speaker would do, how it would react with different stuff, and just playing around, just like how I do with those SPL apps, but a little bit more into just speakers and just how that kind of stuff works. But I know there's so much into it, you really can't. Mom, Dolores McGill, me, Dad, and Aaliyah were there when you won. We had to drive backwards, Dad, to get out of the way so they could push your car to the competition site. Talk about excitement, man. I'll never forget that day. It was awesome, I'm just like, okay, I know I got the loudest system. Like, I thought I had the loudest system in town, man. Let me tell you. I didn't need to see anybody's system. That's just how I felt. But, that was the cool moment, because it's like I waited all my life to kind of do something with car audio. All these car shows never did anything with car audio. I didn't go to Mecca. I didn't even know Mecca was a thing then. So I was really waiting for this moment, and man, it's a foundation. It really is, and it's just ironic, the engine went like right before, no engine, just battery power, and it was just by crowd reaction, man. That's all it was. But they liked the Solo X and the water bottle jumping off the speaker, and my mids and highs were on point. Sounded good, man. It was an awesome day, and yeah, we had to tow it out of there, and you guys got blockaded in. Appreciate you guys helping me. Love you guys. All right, John K. Anybody know how 2011 Toyota RAV4s are for SQ? Ha ha ha. I like the RAV4, the 20. My dad has a 2019. Sounds really good, but the all-pass filters kind of limit what it can do. How that kind of stuff works. But otherwise, great. JBL system sounds really good. DJ bass ain't loud. Should I get 4 Scar SDR10s? No. Moving on? No, I'm just kidding. They're great for entry stuff, but just remember what you're getting into. You're paying $69 or $59 for, each 10-inch woofer. So it's not that they're bad. It's not. It really isn't, and that's why Scar is so successful, because, yes, they give you products and performance at a very low price. And, but could you get away with maybe better sound per se? And the better sound is just, personal preference. It could just be better sound to you and maybe not the next guy. And maybe something that's a little bit more efficient and maybe less chance of getting a lemon. Quality control is always a thing with any product you get. And there's, variables of how each product is looked at. And you always have a chance to get a lemon out of the batch. It's just how many lemons are in the batch to begin with. And the chance of that. So there's that, and warranty and all that kind of fun stuff. And, it's not that they're a bad thing, man. They're really not. And I love that 18 that I have. I never really even got to put it in an enclosure. Free air. It looks pretty cool. But, and Derek did, a video on one of them and two of them in their preloaded enclosure. Been waiting to get on that, but that's on the back burner. I'm not really too worried about it, but it's something I want to do. And it's not that they're bad stuff. They're really not, man. Now, amps, I don't want to push their amps. I don't. Sub, sure. Scott says anything above 20 hertz is mid-bass, and you're absolutely correct. Absolutely. Josh, what is going on, man? Thank you for tuning in, buddy. Hope you're doing good. All right, let me scroll down. I don't know how far behind on the comment. Well, I'm actually catching up. Good, good, good. I mean, we're already over that hour mark, too. Awesome. Frank Herb says, I'm back. Had to put the kid to bed. Hey, I know the deal, man. Listen, at that motorcycle Mercedes shop, man, that was insane with the kiddos. And lots of motorcycles. You know how kids are. They just want to jump on them. I want to jump on them too, but I learned I can't because then they make me buy it. They may or may not have knocked one over, a little one. I mean, may or may not have. Yeah, it happens, kids. God. But we got some helmets and some gloves. Gonna get some shoes and some other stuff soon. She's already got a jacket and pants with Kevlar and like pads and everything. So she said I still need to get a few things, but one step at a time, man. Your head's the most important thing. Frank Herb, Kicker for Life. I know on your Facebook and here, man, you got the Kicker. I like that little background you got there. It looks awesome, man. Thank you for tuning in. Yes, Kicker for the win. Hear that, Scott? Kicker for the win. Even to Sundown LCS 12s versus 4 SDRs, I take the LCS. Now, the LCS are very nice, entry level. That's a good comparison, but I feel like even if they're 412s and they're less efficient, you'd probably be louder if you had 2 subs that were more efficient compared to 4 that were less efficient. You could probably keep up with them, but you're really going on an uphill battle because you're going up against so much surface area of cone area and bore and stroke. But at the end of the day, I think it kind of would equal out, because you would hit that crescendo, like the peak of just where the Sundowns are really loud with how much power, and then the Scars, same way. And I feel like the Scars, because you got more of them, they're going to be able to take more power, more cone area, more bore and stroke. If you got more power, they're going to get louder. But if you have a 500 watt amp and compare them, the Sundowns might do better because they're just a better driver compared to having a 2000 watt amp and then comparing them. Well, okay, the Sundowns kind of peaked out at 137 dBs, but these 4 Scars, I can do a 139 because I'm clamping 1800 watts, and the Sundowns could only take 1200, or give or take of whatever the situation is, if you get what I'm saying. So with everything, there's pros and cons, but I mean, man, those LCSs are nice, bro. They're nice. I know El Fuego needs to get to the amp test too. I'm testing amps on the bench without a DSP, so I might pick one up. Could buy a DSP for the test bench. Thanks for tuning in, El Fuego. Oh, sorry. Frank, you're a B. 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 You're... Close enough. Thanks for tuning in, man. Appreciate you again. They got drop-in recones. I mean, that is a win. That is a win. DJ Bass Ain't Loud says, I'd die for getting a Sundown product, but the price. I mean, I don't think they're that pricey, man, for what you're getting. I really don't. I think digital design is a little bit pricier compared to Sundown, but then there's pros and cons with each product, and maybe that's why it's a little pricier. And just the same reason with Kicker versus Scar or Sony and all these other products, Alpine and Rockford, Fosgate, they all have their reason almost of why they're more expensive and cheaper than the other ones. El Fuego says, get your living loud with Andy leather chaps at the merch store. You know what? We might have to get a different website. Speaking of which, El Fuego, with the merch store, I went and checked, what was it, Sunday night, I was going over my analytics on YouTube, because if I don't do that, Bill gets upset. No, I'm just kidding. I was checking out my analytics on YouTube. No, love you, Bill, thank you. He pushes me, makes me try harder, and I love that, man, you know, and he's always guided me since day one. And anyway, what I was saying was, I was looking at the analytics, and the merch store option popped up, and I'm like, oh, I can do that now. So if you go to any of my videos, you'll see on the bottom there my merch items. Now, I still have to rearrange it of which ones I want to see. It was acting kind of funny, and I'm like, is this even going to work? And it wound up working. I checked on it today, and it was right on my phone. I'm like, oh, wow. I can see my Living Loud with Andy Tumblr below my video, which is awesome. And I thought I had to wait for 10,000 subscribers for that. So I guess YouTube's like, here, you're doing all right. Here you go. Just do it. It's weird how YouTube stuff works, man, but I thought that was, you know, cool to mention, you know, just because it is hard to find my merch store. It's in the About section. Who looks at that? I don't, you know, unless I'm creeping on you. Oh, man. But yeah, man, you know, Living Loud with Andy Leathers would be nice. Would be nice. Tube socks. I wish. They have socks, but they're ankle socks. Not so cool. Not so cool. So they're not on the website. I like tube socks. You know, high socks. Very late 90s, early 2000s guy here. I mean, come on, man. Ray Gibson, how about Dino, the IX line of amplifiers? I actually do have an IX 400. It's the one that Bobby B won't let me alone about dynoing. It will be one of the very first amps too. Between the Caboose amp here, the Boss amp, and the Kicker amp, and we're gonna have to figure out who's going first. Those are the ones I want to dyno. I still have Alpine MRP 500s. I got 2 of them, an MRP 450 4-channel, a Jensen 500, a Jensen 400x4, another Boss with another Boss with VU meters. I got 2 Boss amps with VU meters. I am not kidding. Just the one you guys seen is a lot better shape and it's a lot bigger. And then I got something else too. I forget which. Oh, another Kicker 550.2 or 250.2. I forget which. Older ZK KX amp, older KX amp. You should custom wrap your car Cookie Monster theme. I know, I would love to do a wrap on the car, on both my cars. They both need wraps. It's just they're expensive. You know, you're talking $2-3 grand each car. I would love to do my car. That's why I just keep adding stickers to it. Eventually it'll turn into a wrap. That would be cool though. Any Kicker tattoos? Not yet. If I do get one, it's going to say Kicker right on my forehead. No, but for real though, I would like to be like Dave and have like a Rockford, or not a Rockford Fosgate, but he has a Rockford Fosgate tattoo. I would love to get one to fix one that I have on my arm that isn't the best of names. It's not it's a bad name, it's just not a great name. Just, you know, that first tattoo you get, it's not always the best one. I just haven't got a tattoo since 2012, man. It's been a while. John K. Okay, Andy, if you want to have an SPL vehicle and the vehicle magically had infinite clean power and currently available subs and were completely free, what subs would you pick to maximize SPL? I mean, I feel like I would be limited on the vehicle size, but at least 418 Solo X's, at least. You know, you could do more, but then I feel like you might be defeating the purpose and you're just going to need a lot more power, and it's going to be hard to get a low-end extension with a lot of subs, you know, taking up the whole vehicle, even if you had a limousine. You know, that's my plan. 3 or 4 18s, you know? And, I mean, obviously, if the power is infinite, doesn't matter. I really want a 6-order because they're more efficient. So I would still do good in Mecha, you know, if I'm competing, even if I'm tuned low or if I'm tuned not to what my vehicle just wants to be and what the subs want to be in the ideal SPL vehicle. But it'll still do good or better just because it is a 6-order compared to a fourth order, but then those are inherently larger. So there's that, but that's the reason why I'm kind of stuck on 418s, plus they're 18 squares. So, I mean, they're bigger than an 18. It's like a 19 or a 20-inch round of how much cone area you got back there. So, I mean, yeah, I would say at least 418s. I know I'm thinking small. I could say 40 18s, like the Kicker Cube 2.0. That would be crazy. I mean, we could do that. We could definitely do that. I know a guy named Travis Young. He's got great batteries, and people with Kicker, man. I mean, hey, I'm just kidding. In our perfect world, there, John. In our perfect world. All right, let me see. Yeah, 5 years on tattoos. Yeah, it's been about 10. You know, it's just my money goes to car audio, Kayla. And yeah, that's it. Well, now a motorcycle, another fish tank stuff, and just life, man. It's always fun. All right, cool. Rockford versus CAS. Boss, maybe? Boss for the win. Absolutely, boss. All right, guys. Well, I'll see you Friday unless something unforeseen happens, which sometimes it does, but I try to, I try to make it happen. So I'll see you guys Friday. My God. I'm going to see you guys Friday. We're going to stream 3 times this week, and we're going to have a blast. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you at the caboose. Stay living loud. All right. Baba, thank you for your $20 super chat. And I just wanted to show you guys something here that pop up. Super chats ain't working. I ain't lying to you guys. They were working. Early in the show, they were working. Now they're not. Not coming up here. But we got a $10 super chat from Cornut. Chugga, 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 the caboose. Thank you, Cornut. Love you guys. I will see you on the next one. Stay living loud.